The subject of climate change is not about a country. It's not about a region. This is a global phenomenon that is threatening humanity. And in the context of Kenya, being part of the Horn of Africa, this is a region that has suffered 4 consecutive years of failed rains, resulting in loss of livestock. In our region, between about 5 countries, we have lost about 9.5 million heads of livestock. We've lost millions of wildlife. And of course, drought has decimated many communities' livelihoods. And as a result, we've had to feed, for example, in Kenya, 4.3 million people who are affected by drought. So the effects of climate change are real. We are living the effects of climate change every day. And that is why Kenya has taken the position to champion climate action, mobilizing our continent. Last September, we mobilized the whole African continent on that very important subject of climate change so that we can harmonize our actions, we can consolidate our plan, and be able to work with the rest of the leadership of the globe and other regions on mitigating the effects of climate change and finding solutions that will not only serve us in this generation, but serve us in the generations to come. And 4 important aspects came out from our discussions on the management of the effects of climate change, from adaptation to mitigation and all the interventions in between. That number 1, we need to deal with clarity on making sure that we unlock the huge potential of renewable energy resources in our continent, working with others globally. That way, we will stop the perilous journey towards hydrocarbons, and that we need to reverse the speed and the escalation of exploitation of hydrocarbons, and in its place, unlock the huge potential of renewable energy in Africa, not just for African use, to access energy to the close to 1 billion people in our continent who have no access to energy or clean cooking energy, or the 600 million people who have no access at all to energy, but also to use the renewable assets we have, geothermal, hydro, wind, solar, that we have in abundance. We have close to 40% of global resources in our continent, that we can use these resources to access energy to those of us in this continent, but to also decarbonize production everywhere in the world by exporting energy, whether it is through green hydrogen or relocating green industrial facilities, whether it is bauxite, whether it is steel, or any other manufacturing, relocating to the African continent, using African resources, using African renewable energy, using African minerals to create an industrial and manufacturing hub that is powered by green energy in our continent. And secondly, to look at opportunities for financing. How do we use the resources that we have, and how do we create new instruments for financing the huge opportunities that exist in our continent, from transforming and reforming the multilateral development banks, to creating new instruments. I will be addressing the EU Parliament next week on what we think as Africa is the new opportunities that exist for collaborations between Europe and Africa to unlock the potential of renewable energy, to unlock resources and financing of new opportunities in the green energy space, e-mobility, and many other aspects, because we find that there is opportunity in that space. So much as climate change is a threat to humanity, but also there is a silver lining that there are opportunities that we can unlock in renewable energy, in alternative mechanisms of financing that we can use to unlock the potential that exists in Kenya and in Africa for the benefit of Kenyans, for the benefit of Africans, and for the benefit of humanity globally as we make these resources available for use by everybody. And that is why it is also important that Europe has finally concluded the discussions with Kenya. And the Economic Partnership Agreement will be signed, as I said, in December. That will now consolidate our position and provide new opportunities for Kenyan enterprises, for Kenyan business people, for our agricultural products, for all our farmers to find markets in Europe in a way that gives us sustainability. So that is the scope, both climate change as a threat, but also the opportunities that come with the effects of climate change and how mitigation and adaptation can give us new opportunities for investment and for trade.